I'ma keep it a bean. Stick to the script, every scene. This from last year, but they clean. Say to say, I'ma take something else, but it's winning team. Charlie Sheen, fam gang, the regime. I'm from Piney Green.
What's good, Shellitronnn here. You can call me Shells, and I'm back at it again with a brand new video. And I want to go ahead and give you guys a breakdown of what happened on Monday the 18th, because something very, very important happened. And there's a lot of information that came out straight from the Panthers owner, David Tepper's mouth. And there's a lot to get into here. Not too many big details, but enough small details to really make you think about a few things. Now, first of all, it was only a meeting between David Tepper and a few members of the media. More of the bigger names you probably already recognize. So it wasn't like it was a huge, like a town hall meeting with a lot of people there. But there were some very big topics that David Tepper talked about. Starting off, first of all, the most important topic was about Cam. And he mentioned it. He said straight off the bat, he said, look, we're not going to make any decision about Cam until he's fully healthy. We're not going to cut him. We're not going to, just talk about us, re-signing him for a long-term deal, long-term contract until we can evaluate what Cam is, who Cam is, and what kind of value he has on the team still when he's actually fully healthy. So that was really good news for Panthers fans. We're not going to be trading or cutting our franchise quarterback. We're not going to be doing anything too reactionary until we find out just exactly how healthy he is. And honestly, I haven't heard any word about him getting surgery yet. So it sounds like we really won't know how healthy Cam is until training camp. So while it is a good thing that David Tepper is not talking about cutting or trading Cam right now, we have to also remember we do not know just how healthy Cam will be. And really, there's no real timetable for when he's going to be back. I'm thinking the earliest really is another training camp first day for Cam. And that doesn't give us a lot of time to even make that decision. It sounds like we're going to let him play out that last year of his contract. I don't know if this team's going to have enough information on how healthy he is until the season actually starts. But that's a big topic for another day, maybe 4 or 5 months down the line in 2020. So we'll get to there when we get there. But kind of related to Cam, he did mention that there are no immediate plans to get rid of GM Marty Hurney or head coach Ron Rivera. He said that he wants to see what the quarterback looks like before making a head coach decision there. And these kind of seem like answers, but really half answers, like we'll see what we see and we'll get there when we get there kind of things. But I guess it is encouraging to hear that we're not like making two like very, very big reactionary kind of like big decisions off of a snap of a finger. He wants to look at things, see how things shake out, and evaluate these things as they move forward. So there's no real guarantee about either of these things, but at least he's giving himself a chance to analyze these things as we move forward. So that's kind of good to see here. And another thing that's kind of related to that kind of note is that he did mention every time we lose, it's really hard for him. He said he was in a shitty mood when the team loses. And that's how just about every single fan does it. He doesn't want to rush things along, but he's not going to stand for a long-term mediocrity. This team isn't horrible. We're not the Browns. We're not the Dolphins right now. We're not like the Jets or, one of these other teams, maybe even the Bills, although they're kind of the Titans. We're not one of these garbage teams. But for a team that's been around just about 500 for the last 10 years, and we've only been with a positive record 3 of the last 9 years, 3 of the last 8, you can argue about what this year is going to be. I won't talk about that until later on. But this has been a pretty strong showing of mediocrity for the last decade. I don't think David Tepper is going to be so patient that he just lets things keep continuing like this for the next 5 to 10 years. So we might see some things shaking up, and we have seen some things shaking up in the Panthers organization. Now, there's been a really big thing about something else shaking up, and that's location. There's been a lot of talk about, whether David Tepper would move the stadium, move the team, all that kind of stuff. He said, without a doubt, the team's going to be staying in Charlotte. I think he was quoted saying forever, but forever is a very long time. The point is, they have very, very strong plans to keep the team in Charlotte basically forever, right? But there's also been talk about the stadium. Like, Bank of America is 25 years old. He said the maintenance costs go up 5% every single year. And he mentioned the stadium needs major improvements like locker rooms, a center tunnel, and accommodations for a Major League Soccer team, which we've been trying to bid for the last, 1 or 2 years. And I think Charlotte was like one of the last cities with a bid that's like in the final stages. So we'll know more about that later on, but that could be a very, very huge thing for the city, for the stadium, and other kind of things. But there was also talk about there being a foundry, a steelworks or ironworks foundry just a few blocks away from B of A that has 50 plus acres of land that they could maybe possibly see themselves making a new stadium, still uptown Charlotte, but making a new stadium there. But that's still about 10 years down the line, 10 plus years. The owners, the guys who are in charge of the foundry, they do have preliminary plans to move their operations to the next county over. But they said there's no real set in stone kind of plan for that just yet. They're not looking at doing that for a whole decade. And then again, they don't know what they're going to do with that land. They may sell it. They may not sell it. They don't know what's going to be going on there. So there's no real handshake or no deal set in place. There's not even any talks going on right now. It's at least going to be 2030 before that even happens. And then it takes time to build a stadium on that land after you do the deconstruction, getting all the zoning and whatnot, all the construction, all that kind of stuff that goes into building and planning and whatnot. It'll probably be 20 years, my estimate, 20, 25 years before that even comes to place. So that's more of a long-term plan. And that's just something he mentioned in that meeting. There are other places the team could build a stadium. There's nowhere else uptown, but I guess out there in the county somewhere, I don't really know. But there are plans to improve B of A. There were renovations only 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago. I don't remember what year it was. But they do want to make more improvements on the stadium. But I don't know if we are actually married to B of A for the very, very foreseeable long-term future. And speaking of being married to a location for a long-term future, there was talk about training camp and Spartanburg and how, look, Wofford College is a dope place. Everyone loves being there. It's a tradition and all that kind of stuff. But he said that it is really disadvantageous to keep going there and being in the sun in 100+ degree heat. And let me tell you, I was at training camp this year. It is hot. It is hot. My phone overheated from I think 15, 20 minutes of live streaming. It was hot out there. And when you have a bubble in Charlotte that you just paid money for and you just built, why wouldn't you use that, right? And then there's a whole Rock Hill facilities being made that'll be maybe partially done by next off season, not this year, but next off season. They might have plans to have an indoor facility there so that fans in South Carolina can still feel like it's 2 states, 1 team. And that's really cool, but that's more of a, 2 years, maybe 3 years down the line kind of thing because we know it's not going to be done in a snap of a finger. I think they're only just now starting or going to be starting very soon on construction over there and breaking ground. So that's going to be further down the line. But I think for right now, I put my money on them having training camp in Charlotte with the bubble. It just makes no sense to go to Wofford unless you do just 1 more year there and then start in Charlotte next year, next year. So we'll see how that goes. But I think that's really about most of what they talked about in the meeting. Cam, the coaching staff, but mainly the big thing is not standing for long-term mediocrity. We might see a big shakeup with this organization very, very soon. And keep in mind, like I mentioned earlier, that these answers weren't exactly, guarantees or weren't exactly him saying, yes, I promise these things will or won't happen. We might see people gone that looked maybe a little safer than these answers would suggest. So we'll see how things go on. I've heard some things from people at the top of the Panthers organization for a couple years, and then I see different things happen. So it really wouldn't surprise me to hear one thing and see another. But we'll see how things work out. This is the man who has brass balls on his desk. This is not a guy who is timid, scared to have action, scared to do things that he sees and put his fingerprints on things. The first 2 years, he's seeing how things work. He's looking at things, analyzing them. Wouldn't be surprised if this upcoming season and next season, we start seeing more David Tepper signatures on things we see, people we see, and the product on the field, and maybe even a different field. Who knows? But I think there's a lot of good things that are coming up very, very soon. And it's kind of cool to have an owner talk about these things, bring in the media and let them discuss a few things that were mentioned at the meeting. Now, not too many specific quotes, but the general gist of what happened there. David Tepper in 2 years is already a way, way, way better owner than JR was ever. I think that's one thing the whole fan base can agree on, unless you're one of JR's relatives. David Tepper is a way better owner of the franchise, and I think that any decision he makes will be pretty well, it'll be a well thought out and probably a positively accepted decision he makes. It won't be reactionary, but it also won't be some scared kind of, I don't want to make a decision here. I don't want to upset anyone. You gotta shake things up for this team. We have not seen greatness in a long, long time. We haven't had back-to-back winning seasons. So some gotta change, and some is gonna change very, very soon with David Tepper. And when we see and hear about those things, you know where to go to find out about them. Either way, man, that's my thoughts on all this stuff. What are your thoughts on all that? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And you already know what to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Been told y'all I been the man. Been told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.